Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Troy Knight and I this evening for a talk about Tanzania. I'm just going to admit a few people as they kind of straggle in. Um, but I will let everyone know that this webinar is being recorded. So if you feel like you don't want to be on camera, that is fine. When I'm sharing my presentation, I likely won't be able to see you anyways. But we'll have a question and answer period at the very end. And normally Troy is a machine on the chat, so he's always keeping an eye out for questions from the audience. Why don't I'll let Troy maybe introduce himself. I'm sure all of you know Troy, but
Oh, there's a few new names,
there's
so
new
that's
one.
awesome.
Okay.
Yes, so not everybody's jaded with me yet, so that's beautiful. Um, Thanks everybody for joining us. I think she said there was 18 or 19 that signed up, so we'll probably get a dozen people. I will ask, turn your microphones off during the presentation. I will answer if you have any questions. Put them in the chat, and I will answer them. And at the end, we will go through it and answer any ones that I couldn't. That's really about it for housekeeping, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. Like I said, if you don't want your cameras on, then don't feel like you need to have them on. And yeah, question and A at the answer. Normally, how we do this presentation is I'm just going to give you a really brief kind of synopsis of who G Adventures is. And then we'll dive deep into the tour in Tanzania that Troy is organizing as a group. And then we can discuss other tours at the end if you wish, because Troy can actually book any G Adventure tour that we have. So he is a bit of an expert in our kind of repertoire of tours. So certainly reach out to him if you have any questions. And then if there's something that Troy doesn't know, then he reaches out to me. So we've got a great relationship here, and ultimately we just want all of you to be able to explore the world, and I'm here to show you why G Adventures is a really fun company to do it with.
They
So
are. So everybody, yeah, turn off your mics. You don't. I'm going to I'm turning my screen off shortly. You just go down to the bottom in the more and open up the chat for any questions during the presentation.
yeah,
And
and just before you go off camera, Troy, I am going to just share my screen one more time and
yep,
make sure that housekeeping wise, it all looks good to you.
all good. Got the
Okay.
purple virtual travel talk.
Love that. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining me today. So my name is Jenna English, and I am a global purpose specialist with G Adventures. And what that means is that I have the privilege of sharing our passion and our purpose of our company with all of you here today. And I've been with G Adventures since 2018. I actually started with us as a traveler first. So here's just a few of the pictures I've done in the years that I've traveled with G. I think I'm up to 9 tours now. It was actually my brother who introduced me to G Adventures. And I'm happy to say that it is my brother who did this tour. Now, he did it a little while ago, but he loved this Serengeti and Zanzibar tour. So I am happy to share all of his kind of stories with you as well. And we'll go over the itinerary. But sorry, oh, there we go. You might be thinking, who is G Adventures? So we're going to kind of give you a bit of an inside look. So we are a Canadian company, and that's always made me so proud. But we have a very global reach because we operate in over 100 countries around the world. And we were founded back in 1990 by Bruce Poon Tip. And we consider ourselves the pioneers of community tourism. Now, you might ask, what is community tourism? And honestly, we feel it's just a better type of tourism. This means that we improve the lives of the local people in the communities we visit, while also, improving the lives of the travelers who are choosing to travel with us. We're giving them a really kind of intimate experience. We're not looking at this country as a tourist from the outside. We're really bringing you in to be like a local, and then you just get to experience different types of cultures and things like that. All right. So like at a very broad glance, this is who we are. So we have over 650 tours spread over 100 countries, and those are divided into 12 different travel styles. So it means that we have everything from, bare bones kind of budget backpacking for young travelers who are okay with kind of a no frills package, all the way up to something more deluxe and active. We also have partnerships with National Geographic Journeys. So it really varies from end to end. But we feel that by having such a big portfolio, we're able to find a tour for anyone who comes across us. We have over 1,200 employees spread over 6 continents and divided into 19 local offices. Now, what this means is that there are offices on the ground operating in the places that we're traveling. So when something happens, let's say a natural disaster or political unrest, we can rely on our people on the ground to let us know if things are safe to operate. So it's incredibly special that we have these offices. Now, last year, we had over 200,000 people travel with us. So we know travel is back, and we are very happy that we're the number one largest adventure tour operator on Earth. So here's a brief look at where we travel at G Adventures. Now, we also go to Antarctica, so we go to all 7 continents. It's just kind of covered there by my font. But when you look at that, you can see there are a lot of different countries that you can explore with us. Now, here are a few reasons why you will love traveling with a Canadian tour operator. Now, we focus in small groups, and we do this on purpose because by keeping the groups small, we can make sure that we have closer connections, not only with one another, but with your local guide and with the communities that we're visiting, right? We're not a large coach bus of 40 people. We usually keep groups around 16 people. Average 10 to 12 people will book per departure. So just kind of gives you a good idea of how many people you can expect on these tours. Now, we use locally based guides, and our guides really are what make G Adventures special. So, no matter where you go, you're going to have a guide that kind of grew up in that area and knows it better than anyone else. They can always recommend the best places to eat. They can tell you the best places to go, and then maybe some like tourist traps you want to avoid. They really are the best part of it, and they bring you in and make you feel like you are part of their family. Now, we offer flexibility and freedom with G Adventures. So while you might be going through our portfolio, you might notice that not every day is structured hour by hour. And we do this on purpose because maybe what I want to do on tour is different than what Enrique wants to do on tour or what May wants to do on tour. And so by keeping it open, it allows all of us to decide what's the best way that we can use our time. Maybe some people are more into history and culture, and other travelers are more active. So we always make sure you hit the highlights, but we give you that free time as well. Now, you can book and travel with confidence with G Adventures. So, we have been around for 34 years, and we do have some great policies that can kind of put your mind at ease. The first one I want to mention is our lifetime deposits. So, in order to confirm a tour with G Adventures, you just have to call up Troy and say, listen, I'm ready to put $350 down on a tour. And if, for instance, you change your mind before that tour happens, maybe you want to go someplace else, or you just need to postpone travel for a little while, that $350 is not lost. We're just going to keep it on file in your name so that you can move it to any other tour as a future deposit. It's also completely transferable to any friend or family member, or you could even donate it to Planetera, our non-for-profit partner. So there are lots of different ways to use your deposits. We also have guaranteed departures. So this means the minimum amount of people we need for our trips to run is just one person. So it's not very common. So if you have tried to book group travel before, maybe you've been contacted saying, sorry, not enough people have booked and this departure isn't going to happen. That's not the way we think at G Adventures. We don't think you should be penalized just because no one else chose that travel date. So as long as one person is booked on that tour, we commit to running that tour, and then you can feel peace of mind going ahead to book flights or book time off work because you know that tour will run. The only way we would cancel a tour is for safety reasons, because safety is our number one priority. So if there's political unrest or a natural disaster that prevents the tour from running safely, that's the only time we would cancel it. All right, G for good. Now, this is collectively all of the good that G Adventures does. So, this is our animal welfare policies, our child welfare policies, how we care about the environment, and also our non-for-profit partner, Planetara. So, what Planetara does is it looks for opportunities to help people in those areas we're traveling overcome any obstacles to employment. Predominantly, we focus on maybe women's groups or youth groups, anyone that has a bit more of a hurdle to getting the same opportunities. So we've always strived to make a positive impact in the places that we travel. So on these tours, you might see something that says G for good moment. And that means that you will get to do something that we have helped create and kind of flourish through our tours and with our non-for-profit partner. Now, one of the newest environmental initiatives that we're very proud of here at G Adventures is called Trees for Days. So this means that every day you travel on a tour with G Adventures, we are going to plant one tree in your name per day. Now, we've partnered with a company and selected 17 different forests across the globe. And when you log on to your G Adventures account, you can actually see where your trees have been planted. This initiative started in September. However, we chose to plant trees for every tour that's happened since January 1st, 2023. And right now we have about 1.9 million trees growing. So it's just one other way that we can kind of offset the carbon footprint of traveling and making sure that these areas are still around for us to enjoy generations to come. Now, as I said, we are built to support those local communities. And one of the ways that we do that is use local services whenever possible. So we use local accommodations, eat at local restaurants, and local transportation wherever we can to make sure that the money we spend as an operator in that destination actually helps that destination and it stays there. So I do have a really great video I'm going to share with you about the ripple effect and how we can show all of our customers how we're transparent and kind of how we do that.
When you go on vacation, no matter which tour you take, each place you visit requires local expenses, from the hotels to the restaurants, even down to a bike rental. But did you know, with some other types of travel, as little as 10% of that money stays in the communities you visit? Instead of benefiting the locals, it's like 90% of those traveler dollars were never there. But what can we do about this? We start keeping score on all of our trips, and we work together as one team. Because when we do, you can see the ripple effect beginning in communities and spreading to the rest of the travel industry. To start, we've done the math for our own trips. Now our tours all have a ripple score that rates how well we're keeping those local expenses local. When you see this, you'll know just how often we've chosen local businesses or services to create this tour. If the ripple score is high, you'll know that's a great trip, creating a greater ripple effect for the locals who call each destination home. Otherwise, it's still a great trip, but we have some work to do to make the local benefit even better. The G Adventures Ripple Score, our way of helping travelers, locals, and communities so everyone wins.
All right. So I hope that that explains it a little bit better. Of course, anytime you look on our website, we will tell you the ripple score between 0 and 100. And in a lot of places, our ripple score actually is an average of 93 out of 100, which is huge. We're very, very proud of that. And we hope that other companies will kind of follow our lead and also just be accountable and transparent with their clients as well. Okay, enough about, bit of enough about the G Adventures and things like that. I know you all tuned in to hear about the tour that Troy is organizing for all of you. So this is the 12-day Serengeti Safari and Zanzibar tour. But first, we're just going to look at Tanzania at a glance. So this tour, it is 12 days, which is a really good amount of time. And the tour starts in Arusha and ends in Stone Town. Now, if you're looking at this and you're concerned a little bit with where to fly in, I am going to recommend Kilimanjaro Airport. It would be the closest international airport to the starting point of this tour. There is also a municipal airport in Arusha. I don't know what your travel plans are prior to this tour. Perhaps if you are already in Eastern Africa, it'd be easier to fly into Arusha. But let's just say we're kind of all coming from the same Vancouver area. Kilimanjaro is going to be the quickest. And then, of course, you can also always book a arrival transfer through Troy. So there's no better way to see kind of Tanzania than by seeing it in a safari vehicle with a group of people and a local guide who has the best eyes for picking out these animals, right? My brother loved this tour when he did it, and I do want to stress that this is a classic style tour with a standard service level. So this means there are some hotels, but there's also some camping involved. And when you're camping, you're staying right in the national parks. So you're in amongst where the animals are. Now, don't worry, you are still very safe, but it just means that you're not really separated there. You're actually experiencing what it would be like to sleep in tents under the stars in the Serengeti, which is very magical. You're also going to hopefully see, the big five. We can never guarantee, but it's probably likely that you will get to see them, plus more, we hope. And important to bring lots of cameras for all of the exciting things you're going to capture. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping. Because you are going to Eastern Africa, you do normally need a few more documents than maybe some of the other places you could travel with G Adventures. So all of our travelers are responsible for getting their own documents. So that is on you. I would recommend visiting, a travel doctor and making sure your inoculations are up to date. It may be required to show a yellow fever certificate. So I would check in closer to departure. Also, for Canadian nationals, it looks like an e-visa is available if you were to go to Tanzania for less than 90 days. E-visa usually has a fee attached, but it's pretty easy to get and can arrive, before you leave. There is also an option of waiting until you arrive in Kilimanjaro Airport to get that e-visa. But what if there's a flight delay? What if you miss the first day of the tour and you have to play catch up? You wouldn't want to be stuck at immigration because who knows how long that process could take. So I would recommend, closer to departure, certainly research what you can do. If an e-visa is available, I would go that route. And also with all of our tours at G Adventures, there is a mandatory insurance component. So each traveler is required to have at least $200,000 US worth of coverage to cover medical emergencies, evacuations, and repatriation. Now, I always say, think of this amount like an umbrella. And as long as those three things equal 200,000, you should be fine. If you're not sure if your current insurance covers this, I would recommend you to reach out to Troy. I know that Troy books a lot of travel insurance for his clients, so he could always, give you a quote for that. Okay. So now I have a little bit of a video for you about Tanzania and one of our Planetara projects, which is the Clean Stove Cooktop, or sorry, Clean Cooktop Project or Cook Stove Project.
The Serengeti, raw, beautiful, up close and personal. It's the perfect blend of adventure, discovery, and of course, a bit of relaxation as well. But that's just part of the epic journey. The other part takes you somewhere unexpected, to the heart of the Rift Valley, where new friends await your arrival. Here, you get to experience the local life beyond the national parks, the life of the Maasai. Simple, beautiful, and very real. You learn about community, about support, and about challenges. You learn about cook stoves. Traditional cooking practices here lead to household air pollution, which lead to some pretty severe health problems. Your visit makes a difference, and you get to see this firsthand. With each trip here, ground partners design and install clean and efficient wood-burning stoves in people's homes. The community is involved from start to finish, with all materials manufactured in the area. This stimulates the local economy and empowers people, especially women, who are the ones building the stoves. While you may have come to Africa to explore the Serengeti, you're also making a real, tangible difference along the way. This is a stove, and this stove has the power to change a family's life, and travelers like you make it happen. So thank you. Changing the world is easy. All you have to do is have the time of your life.
Yeah, so I really love that video because it illustrates the positive impact that we do have on those communities. I remember our founder, Bruce Poontip, visited that area years before this project was started. And that was a real concern for the people in that village, having to cook indoors. They were inhaling all of that, smoke and pollution. So by having this project, we are benefiting those local communities. And you see firsthand that by picking a responsible travel operator who really, puts making a difference at the forefront of their mission, that you can make a difference simply by choosing to go on vacation. You don't have to do anything too crazy. You just have to, choose to travel with us, and then you will see firsthand, and it makes you feel really good. And then once you're there, you may be inspired to, hear some stories from the other villagers and things like that, and bring those stories home and share them with other people. Maybe you'll encourage more people to travel with G Adventures to other destinations that they like. Okay. So we're going to go through the tour kind of day by day. So as I said, this is a 12-day tour. And usually how it works with G Adventures is the first day usually doesn't have any planned activities other than a welcome meeting in the evening. This means we just want to give people time to arrive to the destination. If you get there early, just check into the hotel and relax. But if you have a later flight and you miss the welcome meeting, that's okay. It's always a recommendation and not a requirement. Now, I would say if you're doing a tour like this, because we are on the go on the second day, I would recommend booking at least one pre-night, because we all know that sometimes the airlines can just be a little bit unpredictable with, if there's any flight delays or cancellation or schedule changes. So you would hate to miss an important day and have to try to catch up with the group if you missed us. So really good idea to just book a pre-night. It'll also help you get, over the jet lag a little bit better. And then you just kind of build up anticipation of getting to go on the trip. So I do want to make another note here too, that you can arrive anytime, but due to the departure time at the end of the tour, your flight home cannot depart any earlier than 2:30 p.m. on the last day. So just something to consider when you are looking at flights. Now, during this welcome meeting, the CEO is going to introduce themselves. Everyone in the group will go around and maybe say a little bit about themselves as well. Although you being a private group, you might already know each other before the tour begins. But this is a great point to ask questions to the CEO before the tour even begins. And maybe there's something you want to see in the Serengeti, or when you're in Zanzibar and you just want to get ideas, kind of pick their brain ahead of time. Great opportunity to do this at the welcome meeting, but your CEO is going to stay with you kind of from beginning to end. So don't worry, there's always someone there that will help you and answer any of your questions. Now, on day 2, now this is a bit of a longer travel day. So, not this day, I'm getting day 2 and day 3 confused, but on this day, you are going to visit a nice village called Motwabu. So in this village, you're going to learn all about their culture and traditions. They might want to do like some dancing for you and certainly some cooking for you. But during this day, you are also going to do a bit of a safari drive through Lake Menyara. So lots of opportunity to see animals here and really throughout the entire tour, but this is a good way to ease into it. So on this day, you can maybe expect to see different types of birds. Maybe you'll see elephants this day. Maybe you'll see some lions or baboons, buffaloes. So just make sure that you have your cameras charged and ready to go for anything that you might encounter. Now, day 3 is when we have a little bit more of a busy day. So this is when we leave Motwabu and we actually drive to the Serengeti National Park. And when we're driving through, we're going to stop at multiple points, take breaks, have our packed lunch, and also take pictures. But we're going to drive through the Ngorongoro Conservation Area. So again, lots of opportunity to see these animals and a little bit of a different landscape, right? You're going to see a bit of a more grassland area. Now, this is one of the first campsites you're going to be at, and I'm going to go into camping a little bit more thoroughly at the end of the tour. But again, these campsites are very basic, but the beauty of it is that you really are so connected to nature. So you just kind of have to go in with that mindset of, wow, this isn't what I do at home, but I can't believe where I am right now. Like I'm in Tanzania and I'm in the Serengeti, seeing these beautiful animals and hearing them at night, which can be really fun. Let's see here. Day 4, this is where some of your other safari drives happen. On day 4, you're actually going to do 2 different safari drives. You're going to want to do one in the morning and then one in the afternoon. Now, in the morning, the temperatures are a little bit more cool, so you're really going to enjoy those safaris. Make sure you're wearing, neutral colored clothing, something really light and breathable. You want to make sure you have lots of sun protection, like a hat or a scarf to cover your skin. The sun can be pretty intense there. And then you're going to want to make sure you have lots of sunscreen and bug spray as well. Now, there is an option on day 4 for a balloon safari. Now, I haven't done this myself. I have done a hot air balloon ride in Turkey, which was really incredible. But if you want, this is an incredible opportunity to see the herds of animals from above, right? You're going to wake up early and do this so that you watch the sunrise in this hot air balloon. There's a champagne breakfast afterwards. You're in the air for approximately an hour. So lots of opportunity to see, like Kilimanjaro in the distance and just how big the land is. And if you don't do the hot air balloon ride, you will do a safari drive in that vehicle, and then you'll have lunch, and then you'll do another safari drive in the vehicle. Trust me, you won't get tired. I know it probably seems like I'm saying there's a lot of safari drives, but that's why you're booking this tour. You want to see as many animals as you can. You want to get up really nice and close. So on this day, you'll have like a full day. I promise you'll be tired by the end. And maybe your cheeks will be a little bit sore because you'll be so excited for all the things that you will have seen. And also a good idea at the beginning of the tour, maybe start like a photo circle or some kind of photo sharing file with everyone so that you can share photos, maybe for some people who aren't doing the balloon ride, or maybe you saw something on the ground that was really special as well. So lots and lots of options there. Okay. On day 5, this is when you're going to leave the Serengeti and you're going to drive to the Ngorongoro like crater. Now this is pretty special because in the crater, this is where you'll see another different landscape, very swampy, great opportunity to see hippos and rhinos here. So again, just lots and lots of safari drives on this one. Now, they do kind of have a warning there that due to the altitude, the temperatures at night can get quite cool. So while I said you want to bring some light colored breathable clothing, bring warm layers as well, because then that's just going to keep you comfortable. Some people will actually kind of wear the same safari clothes every day and then change into something for the evening, something that's, not sweaty, just feels a little bit more clean and comfortable. The campsites are basic, and for shower facilities, you can expect things like, cool water. They won't have hot water, and a lot of them don't have electricity either. So this is why you just want to be a little mindful of like how much you're packing and things like this. Okay. Day 6, this is where you leave Ngorongoro Crater and you are actually going to Arusha, but on the way you are stopping at the Masai Mara village to see that clean cook stove project that I showed you in that video. So you'll spend about 2 hours in the village talking with the local people and again getting to experience how those cook stoves have given a positive change to their life. Okay. On day 7, now you've seen so many different animals on safari. And then on this day, this is where you just get to relax. So there are no planned activities this day. However, your CEO, your tour guide will be with you. So if you have expressed that you want to do something active, they will help find some local hikes for you to do and explore. If you love culture, maybe you like shopping or history, there are so many things that you could do in Arusha. Like, it is a big city, so your CEO can also help organize that. If you are traveling solo within the group, I would recommend to just make sure you don't do anything by yourself, especially at night. Always, safety in numbers. So maybe pair up with another buddy, just to kind of put everyone's mind at ease, but also good to have maybe like a WhatsApp group or something with everyone, so you can always check in. Oh, hey, I've decided to go and do this, so everyone knows where you are. Arusha is also a great spot if you want to do any laundry before you head over to the beach in Zanzibar, because at the campsites, there is not going to be great laundry facilities. It's more like simple hand washing with biodegradable soap. And depending on the temperatures, like, it's not guaranteed that everything would dry fully. So I always say, bring things that are sweat wicking or like quick drying, so that if you do have to wash them in destination and you can't wait till you get to Arusha, at least you have that option. Okay. Now on day 8, this is where the group is going to leave Arusha and you are going to fly to Stone Town. Now, one thing I will mention is that on your flight from Arusha to Stone Town, it is unaccompanied. So that means the CEO that's been with you since the beginning of the tour They are going to bring you to Kilimanjaro Airport. They are going to help you get your boarding passes. Make sure you are aware of any rules as far as what you can kind of bring through security, maybe liquids. Sometimes it's a little bit different depending on where you are. So they'll make sure that you have all your questions answered and you feel good, but then they'll basically drop you off at security, and then you will fly and meet your next CEO upon arrival in Stone Town. And then that CEO will be with you for the last part of the tour. And we just do that because we like to keep those local guides local to the area. So having someone who is really familiar with Zanzibar is really just a plus. And then you'll also get to meet another amazing CEO that we have. So I just want to be very forthcoming that it's just the flight where you won't be accompanied by the CEO, but it's a pretty quick flight. It's only about an hour and a half. And we do recommend getting food before you fly. There's no meals on this flight. So we expect that you'll probably be hungry by the time the flight lands in Stone Town. But your CEO, I promise, will go over all of this. I'm just trying to be super thorough from the very beginning. All right, on day 9, you have a beach day in Zanzibar. So now after doing all of that camping in the national parks, you just get to relax. There is a spice plantation guided tour. And so you'll get to smell things like pepper and cardamom and cinnamon, and like just thinking about it makes me think of like Thanksgiving, but just thinking of all those spices. So you'll get that bit of a tour, but then the rest of the day is yours. So if you want to go swimming or if you want to explore the city of Zanzibar, you absolutely can. And we just want to make sure that you enjoy yourself how you want to on vacation. Now, the very next day is similar, day 10 and 11, more beach days, but I've included a few more optional activities that you can book in destination. Maybe you want to do a Swahili cultural tour. That's going to take about 3 to 4 hours, so it's a great way to use up a lot of that free time. Maybe you are like a fish in the water and you want to go snorkeling or scuba diving. Those are great options too. Not everyone thinks of Eastern Africa is a place to scuba dive. So why not see what animals you can see from under the water? And there's also forest tours. We have this and more optional activities on our website. Now, these optional ones aren't always pre-bookable, but there are some things that you can pre-book in advance through Troy, just so that you don't have to worry about budgeting so much money in destination. And then on the very last day of the tour, that's when the group leaves the beach and you depart towards Stone Town. And then this is where you're going to either end the tour, or maybe you've decided to extend a few more days, totally up to you. But if this is the final day for you, just want to remind you that you should book travel no earlier than 2:30 p.m. just for the amount of time it takes us to leave and actually get you to Stone Town and leave you enough time to get through security and customs and things like that. Okay. So now that we've kind of gone through the tour, I'm going to share with you a few frequently asked questions that we get from travelers who are going to Eastern Africa for the first time. So one of them is, how much money should I bring to cover meals that aren't included? We don't include every single meal at G Adventures because we feel, everyone has different appetites. So a lot of the time we will include things like breakfast, but maybe lunches and dinners have like you might not have them included every single day. So we are recommending $340 to $445 US to cover those extra meals. Now, I didn't factor in any alcohol if you want that. So if you prefer to have some wine with dinner, certainly or beer, you'll want to bring extra. And then there is the full itinerary online that you can use as a guideline. I always tell people to look at it and maybe just use a pen and paper and write down what activities you're interested in and the approximate cost. Now, we do put the cost in USD, even though we're a Canadian company, because travelers from all over the world book with us. And it's just easier to give the price in USD so that Canadians can kind of get an idea of how much it would cost, people in Australia and the United Kingdom, etc. Right? Now, can you pre-book extras? So you can pre-book the Serengeti balloon safari, and I would recommend pre-booking it so that you don't show up in the Serengeti and they say, sorry, all of our balloons are actually filled with customers for the next morning. So that is something that if you're interested, certainly contact Troy to add that on ahead of time. And then anything like pre-nights, post-nights, arrival or departure transfers. So we don't include them because not everybody needs them. Some people are traveling from somewhere else, or they're going to be in there early. So we always just give you the freedom and flexibility to add it if you want it. So Troy can certainly add those onto your quotes. Now, I found this really interesting when I was kind of researching this tour, but MasterCards do not actually work as well in Tanzania as Visa cards do. So they said if you are bringing credit cards, you'll want to bring a Visa or a backup to a MasterCard because there is a chance it would fail. So I don't want anyone in this group to be stranded and not have any money. So just look at that in advance. Whether you're taking out cash or you're bringing like a debit card with you that maybe it's an international debit card, just be mindful that sometimes MasterCards fail. And then is drinking water provided? So in the cities it is, but when you are, camping in these national parks, that you don't want to, there's not really any good water to drink. So the local villagers actually have to get it shipped in bottles. So you can actually just buy bottled water from them. Very, very fair price. But then you're also supporting that local village as well. So just something to keep in mind. We do also recommend bringing a reusable water bottle with you. Sometimes you'll get like really large bottles of water and maybe it's a lot to carry. So just kind of dump some in a reusable water bottle to take with you on the safari drives, and then, maybe refill it when you get back to your tent. Okay. The included meals. I also found this interesting when I was going through this. So before you leave to go to the Serengeti, the group is actually going to do a little bit of a grocery shop to make sure that you have everything you need. They'll get fresh produce, fruits and vegetables, and during your campsite visits, your meals will be included. Now, breakfasts are going to be quite lean. Usually it's going to be something like cereal or maybe oatmeal. If time permits, they might have a warm breakfast for you. But if you're on the go on that Serengeti balloon ride, for instance, you might just want something that you can kind of grab and go. So breakfast might be a little bit leaner. That's why we'll also stop for snacks in case you want extras at the campsite. Now, lunches are going to be more of a picnic style, so a lot of sandwiches and things like that. But then meals will be hot, and that will consist of, a lot of local dishes, and usually they'll have some meat in there too. If you're vegetarian, you just have to let us know. They're, of course, going to be able to accommodate anything like gluten-free, dairy-free, vegetarian, and I have seen them find things for vegans as well. Just keep in mind that you might not have as much variety as other people on the tour if you do have those dietary restrictions. And then laundry during the trip. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but because the campsites don't have the electricity and they don't have washing machines, everything is going to have to be by hand there. But when you are back in the hotels, you can certainly go grab laundry done for you, and it's quite inexpensive. And during those days at the park, again, just light, dry wicking clothes that you can even just air out at your tent at night is going to be really nice. Okay, camping, frequently asked questions, because there is a fair amount of camping in this tour, but as I said, it is one of the things that makes it very special. So it can be maybe overwhelming if you're thinking, oh, I haven't done camping in a while. But at G Adventures, we offer full service camping. So this means our people are going to set up the tents for you, roll out the mats and the sleeping bags. You have the option to bring your own sleeping bag, but if you don't want to trek it all the way from Canada, you can actually rent one from our local office. So they clean them in between each use and just kind of hold on to them, but it's about $40 US for the duration of the tour, and then you just give it back at the end. So it, $40 US is cheaper than maybe having to check a bag and bring a sleeping bag. So it's just something to consider. So again, all of the meals are prepared for you, so you don't have to lift a finger at the campsite. You can just kind of relax, and you can be exposed to the elements. So this is when I said you want to make sure that you have, sun protection. Bring your bug spray just in case. There could be bugs, but just kind of go into it with the mentality like, you know what, I'm in the middle of Africa, and yeah, I might see ants or I might see mosquitoes, but you know what, like we see those in Canada too. Like don't let it discourage you from doing a camping tour like this, because you're going to get way more out of it than a few I don't even want to call them negatives, but just like a few what ifs, like if there are bugs, right? So yeah, you'll get to see all these beautiful animals. And I do recommend bringing those night lights, preferably if you can find one that has a white and red light. Because our tents are twin share, that means you will be sharing a tent with someone else in the group. If you have to get up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, then at least you can shine the red light on and it's not going to wake your neighbor, which is really nice. Also, you'll want to just zip the tent a bit and then just take a little peek around for any animals, because the campsites are not fenced. So you can frequently hear animals roaming outside of your tents. My brother said when he was doing this tour, he could actually hear hyenas not very far away. But again, it's just the excitement of being kind of in amongst all of the animals and things like that. But don't worry, you are very safe. There are always kind of guards around making sure that nothing's happening and there's no lion kind of creeping out from for your tent and things like that. And then camping equipment, everything's provided with the exception of the sleeping bag and the pillow. So maybe you want to bring your own type of travel pillow with you. And then the drinking water, any ice and firewood are not provided, but then the group usually buys those together locally through the CEO. Now, we do also have a blog post on our website for G Adventures, and it talks about not only this tour, but Arusha and how it's more than just a safari town and all of the things that you can do and see there. So I've added the link to the presentation. And then when I send out the recorded version of this webinar, I will also make sure to send that link as well in case any of you are interested in reading more about it. Okay, what should you pack? So at G, you want to pack as light as possible because we do have smaller private vehicles. We can't really accommodate any hard-shelled large suitcases. So I always say, travel backpacks, duffel bags, or soft-sided kind of carry-on suitcases are going to be the best. In addition to that, you can also bring your day pack. This is something that you'll bring on the safari drives with you that have snacks, water, hats, sun protection, etc. You'll want to make sure you have all of your important documents ready to go. So this means, any applicable visas, maybe your yellow fever certificate, if applicable, have a copy of it just in case you're questioned. Things like your credit cards, maybe some cash to convert into Tanzanian shillings. A copy of your insurance is also smart to have too. You'll want to make sure you have your phone and your charger, neutral colored clothing for safaris. You don't want anything that's really bright with neon colors or tie-dye because the animals see that and then they're going to keep wanting to hide. So as my friend Kenneth is wearing in this photo, you want to make sure that you're wearing things like greens, grays, or beiges, so you kind of blend in with the landscape. Uh, Biodegradable soap for laundry. You know what's really great? Those, I think it's called like True Life, or they're like little sheets of washing strips. And you can just like rip them up and put them in a little Ziploc bag. And that way, if you have to wash something, it just like disintegrates. It's great. Binoculars. If you don't have them, maybe you can ask someone to borrow a pair. It's really going to come in handy when you're looking at maybe some lionesses in a tree or something. Again, yeah, your sun protection, outlet adapters, cameras, good walking shoes, and then bathing suit for Zanzibar, and then your day pack or dry bag for those small excursions. Again, on our website, we have a very thorough packing list, which you can print off or just copy out with everything that you will need. Okay, is insurance mandatory? Yes, it is. I can't stress it enough. You have to make sure that you have the minimum $200,000 requirement to travel with us, because if something happens and we're in a really rural area, you don't want to find out that your policy didn't have enough coverage and now you're footing a bill for an air ambulance. So just just check your policy, and if you don't have a policy in place, like I said, contact Troy, and I know he works with some great insurance providers, and then he can make sure that you have what you need. And then here are some reviews from people who have traveled with G Adventures very recently, who had the Serengeti as part of their tour. So this one person said, I appreciate the philosophy of the organization and the opportunities to experience the local people and customs. I loved that, so I had to include it because that really is what sets us apart. This whole experience was overall over my expectations, and the dynamics within the team, including the guide and the drivers, couldn't be better. And our CEOs, they love their jobs. They love sharing their country with all of our travelers. So they're just going to make you feel like part of their family. The whole experience was exciting, seeing what G is doing when it comes to changing people's lives at the village level, very encouraging, and also meeting new people and making friends while on the trip. We saw the big five. Now, maybe I'll just ask a question for people in the chat. Maybe, do you know the big five? I'm not going to tell you what they are yet, but if you know, I just encourage you to maybe write something down, and then at the very end, we will go through and see who was right. Okay, well, now we're actually at our question period. And we can certainly, I'll stop sharing my presentation. We can get on camera, and then if you want to ask me, you certainly can. And maybe you're still digesting everything that I've told you and you want to maybe sit on it before you ask a question, that's fine. You can also contact Troy, and if he doesn't know the answer, he can contact me. So we are both going to be there to work for you. And I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your Tuesday evening to join Troy and I and talk about the Serengeti Safari in Zanzibar. And maybe now I will stop sharing and kind of pass it over to Troy if he has anything he wants to add. I'm also going to check the chat bot because, oh, it looks like we've got quite a few messages.
The chat was me.
Oh, the chat was you. Okay.
The chat was me just yapping to people.
Okay, great to know.
I had a question.
Sure.
Why do we need to buy firewood?
Oh, the group will buy the firewoods for the villages. So they'll just bring it. I think it's more of a courtesy, like,
okay,
because they're coming that way anyways. So yeah, I think it's just kind of part of it.
And last time we had this conversation, I asked about beer at the campsite. Still going to be there?
Let me double check with that. Beer at the campsite.
I'll bring it in.
Okay.
I'll pack it.
I always say better to bring. I mean, the CEO
always bring beer.
The CEO will know, but I can always ask Kenneth. I mean, He does
Yeah.
this tour all the time, and just ask if that's available. Yeah.
So
And
if anybody has questions, turn your mics on and jump on in. Jenna actually did a really good job. She's nailing these now. She's becoming an expert,
thank
and
you.
we're covering everything.
Oh, it
What
looks
else?
like I have a question from, is it Sarka? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. The approximate cost of the tour, including travel from Calgary. So, yeah, flights. Ooh,
I
flights.
do not know
I don't think
flights off the top of my head for Calgary.
they wouldn't
The
even be
tour,
released yet because they're not really
yeah,
released
I
330
can look.
days prior. So that's going to be a little bit tough to answer right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it was 3,119, I think, off the top of my head. I should have actually known that. But if the price has gone down, I can also request a lower price.
And what Troy did is he actually held this space back in 2023. So he
Yeah.
kind of locked in that pricing for 2025, because if you look at our tours now, like the price goes up, just like everything else, inflation, supplies and everything else kind of goes up. So you were really smart by booking a tour so far in advance. And you're kind of like
Occasionally I am.
passing the savings on to your clients.
I will add my email in the chat if nobody has it. If you want the link to the tour,
Well, I can send that as well.
yeah, we can add that. I'll add it in the presentation actually. Oh, I spelled my email wrong anyway. So much for being smart.
And I can also send that blog post. I mean, I'll put it in the email for you, Troy, but just in
Yeah.
case someone wants to look at it early, pardon me, I will include that. It's a really quick read, but it's just, 5 different things that you could see while you're in Arusha, and how it's more than just the starting point of where everyone does their safaris, right? So,
I was saying in the chat, since the tour starts on January 4th, I will be doing New Year's somewhere. So if people want to join me pre-tour, we will be celebrating New Year's maybe in Nairobi,
okay.
and then come on over into Arusha. That is that. I'm either going to party. I'm either going to do New Year's in Europe, somewhere cool, or Nairobi. So,
Yeah.
what else can we talk about? Oh, I've asked this one before. Bring extra batteries for your cameras and your phones. There is no electricity at the campsite.
Yeah, having actually I think I have one here. It's like a little portable battery for your phone. So this is something
Yeah.
I have, and you just pop this open and my phone goes into it, and then it tells me how much is charged. So these are really helpful. And I
You
think
do
this,
not want to run out. We're paying all this money to see
yeah,
these animals and get pictures of them. You do not want to run out of battery power.
no. And I think it was like $30 from Amazon, so quite affordable.
They're cheap now. They are cheap now.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions? Looks like
So
it's
here,
Enrique.
then,
Yep.
so not clear to me exactly. Last time, well, 2 years ago, I remember it was like 3,800 per person for the
Yes.
tour, right? So,
Yes, it has.
and
I was looking for it, then I got distracted. So give me 2 seconds here and I will bring up the price. I didn't have it open. 2 seconds. Jenna, you can talk while I'm looking.
Sure. So yeah, like I haven't been to Eastern Africa yet. It's certainly on my list, and I'm actually keeping my fingers crossed that I get to do a very small type of tour in May, actually, but it's in Kenya, not Tanzania. But Tanzania is certainly on my list. My brother did Kilimanjaro, and then he did the Serengeti safari. So I feel like I want to kind of follow in his footsteps a little bit. But He loved this, and his photos are fantastic. Mind you, this was a few years ago before he had any nice camera like a DSLR. If you do have a big camera that you've, invested in, certainly a good idea to bring it with you. Just make sure that you have like a really good case for it so that nothing happens. And then worst case, cell phones now have great lenses. So you could always just upgrade your cell phone before the tour starts and take some pictures that way.
So I looked it up, and my current contract is $3,699
Okay.
Mhm.
per person. I am looking to see what the price is in January, if it's gone down.
Oh,
It has gone up. It's actually $300 more.
yeah, 3,999 per
Yeah.
person in Canadian based on double occupancy. This
Yeah,
tour also
so
has a maximum of 14 people, not 16. And that's just because these vehicles right here can only fit 7 people per vehicle, and we bring a max of 2. Let's say there are 12 of you, we would just put 6 in a vehicle to make it easy. And it's just kind of like a pop-up vehicle so that the windows don't obscure your view. You can actually just take pictures up at the top.
she actually just made a good point about the vehicles. So there's 6 seats in one. We will rotate seats just so everybody gets the window view for the pictures. We'll try to be considerate so everybody gets the good pictures. Oh, about the renting the camping, the sleeping bag.
Yep.
Can we pre-order that, or we just pay on the ground?
You just pay for it on the ground.
Pay on the ground.
Yeah, so basically the CEO on that first day, he'll probably just take a tally how many people want to rent their sleeping bags. And then usually, like in my experience, anytime I've gone to a local office for gear, they just bring the whole group. And then you'll get to meet some friendly faces at the office, and they will hand off the sleeping bags. You'll smell like they'll smell very clean. And I mean, anytime I've had to use something else, I still bring like a sleep sheet or a sleep liner, just for another layer of warmth because I always run cold, or just like another hygienic layer. Totally up to you. But a lot of people will bring a sleep sheet with them. And then
I
of
did put the
course, you're gonna-
temperature in the chat.
oh, you put
It's
the
going to be
temperature.
hot.
It is going to be hot now at night. It can get cool though. So just keep
24. It said, 24 is cool. So we'll be warm.
Okay.
If I remember correctly from the last presentation, we can actually leave our suitcases in Arusha.
You can, yes. So the starting hotel can lock up any suitcases you don't need. So let's say you are traveling with someone else in the group, and maybe between the two of you, you have 2 suitcases. Anything you don't need for those few days on safari, just put it into the other suitcase and it'll be locked up until you go back to Arusha. Maybe it has all of your swimming gear, right, for Zanzibar. So, and maybe you don't want to truck that all the way around. So absolutely. And there's no cost to that.
Yeah. I had another thought. Oh, the other thing Jenna was mentioning about how you get paired up. Just so everybody knows, it is female to female. There is no intermixing. And G also
Unless you're a
does their
couple.
best for me.
Unless you're a couple.
Unless you're a couple.
Yeah.
And
Like
me,
any
one
couple, any 2 people can room together. But if you are a solo traveler, we
solo traveler. Yeah.
keep it in the same gender.
They try to keep the same gender. They also do their best to keep it the same age bracket.
Mhm.
They do keep that in mind. You may get lucky. I have been lucky where I've been the only male and I got my own room. So keep that in mind. If there's an odd number, you might get your own room.
Mhm.
For your own room, if you want your own single supplement, there's 2 available per tour. So the first 2 people that tell me they want it goes 1, 2, you got it. And after that, it's on request.
Yep. Yep.
So
Extra question. So it's all the ground services and also the flight is included, the one from
no.
Arusha to Zanzibar?
Yes,
From Arusha to Zanzibar, yes.
Arusha to Zanzibar, yes. Out of Zanzibar, no.
Okay. So we need to arrive to Kilimanjaro and leave from Zanzibar. That's on us.
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct. And I can help you with that. I can book it for you, or I can at least point you in the right direction. I do know G does have, if we go as a group, I think it's 10 people to get an air discount. But honestly, I don't see that ever happening because we come from all over and people do different things.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say it can be tough to do group air.
yeah,
So and sometimes, you know, you, Troy, probably have a lot more connections,
yeah,
honestly.
it's not going to happen. The odds are like the Morocco trip we did, the 14 of us, the most that was on one flight was 4 people, because I think 5 of us were coming from Europe to go to Morocco.
Mm.
It's just people have different schedules and doing different things.
Yeah.
So, you know, we can get flights from Vancouver, we can get flights from Cali. I can get you flights from anywhere. But as a group, discount probably won't happen.
Yeah. And you can book any like service for the flights too, like if you want economy, premium,
Yes.
business. Now the flight that's included will just be standard economy. And we always sit the G Adventures group beside each other. So you'll likely just be near everyone else in your group. And who knows, there might be other G Adventures travelers on the flight as well.
Usually.
Maybe you did a longer tour. Maybe they're coming from Kilimanjaro and going to Zanzibar. So you'll always recognize us from the logo. So
And the Cape.
and yes, if you
Uh,
are coming to the Outdoor Adventure Show March 2nd and 3rd, you might see my face in a big purple cape. That's how you're going to know it's me, because I wear a cape everywhere. I'm known as the girl with the cape, and I'll be flying through the conference center. Not really, but I like to pretend. And just talking all about G Adventures. So if you happen to be in the Vancouver area that weekend, the 2nd and the 3rd, feel free to stop by. And then like, hey, let me know if you're booking this tour or another one.
2 things. They will also, for people in Calgary, they have an outdoor show there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody steal me the cape. I need the flag. I've been trying to steal it for a couple of years. Also, the grand prize is by G. One of the ladies in our group won the grand prize 2 years ago, $10,000. She went to Egypt and Jordan with her friend.
Yes.
So if you got a chance to go to the adventure show, go. I'm supposed to be there, but me and Shelly are off to Fiji and Tahiti.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yes. So.
Before we wrap up, I'm just going to ask, does anyone know the Big Five? I had asked, but I don't see anything in the chat. So if not, I will give it away. Do you know, anyone want to like either shout it out or type if you know one? Can be intimidating.
She's giving away, if you get all 5 right, she's giving away free trip.
I didn't say that. Okay. You get elephants. Yep. Lions, rhino. That's correct so far. There's 2 more.
They always get the last one wrong.
I used to as well. Ooh, tiger. That's a great question, May. But tigers are actually more in Asia than Africa. So you're not going to see any tigers on this tour. But I also am on a mission to see a tiger in the wild. So, you know, you can talk to Troy about maybe India, because you can see them in India.
We were supposed to be in India. They got canceled. Yeah. Maybe next 2025.
Yeah. Hippo, another great guess. And hyenas from Kristen. That's a good guess too. See, a lot of people think hippo because of the size, but it's not always the largest animals. Here's a hint. The last 2, they're very aggressive. Well, I don't want to say they're aggressive animals. I mean, any animal when it's cornered would be aggressive. But the reason they were called the Big Five is because that's what trophy hunters used to go after. Boo to trophy hunting. But ooh, cougar. You're so close, May. You're like on the right track. Cheetah, and you're getting closer. Think of, you know, it's still spots.
Leopard.
Leopard, you got it. There's one more. This one, maybe I can give you a hint. They don't have wings, but the wings are tasty if you order them at a restaurant.
Chicken.
Close, but it's not a chicken.
I know.
The ostrich?
Oh, that's a good guess too.
No.
So
You guys are gonna have to bone up on your safari.
yeah, it's a buffalo.
This is the one everybody gets wrong.
Buffalo, everyone.
Everyone.
I always think of buffalo last, right? But yeah, so those are considered the big five, and we really hope that you get to see them all. Of course, I can't personally guarantee because I don't control the animals, but there is a very good chance that you will get to see the animals on your wish list because the guides are incredible at finding them.
We should, because I picked this one because of the crater. The big
Oh,
five are in the
gorgeous.
crater. We should see the big five in the crater.
Yeah.
This is why I picked this one. I think we're almost done. Jenna, can you stay on for a couple minutes afterwards?
Sure. Yeah.
Save me an email. That's about it, people. Jenna and I would like to thank everybody for attending. For any G tour, please reach out to me. I don't just do private groups. I can sell if it's on their website. Please reach out to me and help support a local business.
Yeah.
That's it, everybody. You guys have a good night.
Thank you so much for tuning in. And I will be giving Troy the recording in about the next 48 hours. So stay tuned. He normally sends it out. And I believe you still post it to YouTube, don't you?
YouTube. We are YouTube famous.
I was going to say, you're going to make me YouTube famous. Yeah.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.